and welcome back to Well Played, presented by The Skim. I'm Caroline Hendershot.
And I'm Blake Morgan, and today's episode is brought to you by MassMutual, a trusted partner for women looking to plan and protect their financial futures. We'll explain more in a bit, but first, let's get into the episode. We have a really busy show to get into today.
We do.
Including a lot of drama in the NFL this week. I was pretty surprised. March Madness.
March Maladness. Yep. Yep. March Marmalade.
Malad.
Milady.
Malad, I was going to say, is sick in French. I was going to offer education, but then you went, Milady, tips hat.
Sorry.
She tipped
Sorry,
her
I was
hat.
being respectful.
Anyway, March Madness, which this
Yes.
is my first one that I'm going to be really tapped in for, so I have lots of questions.
Okay. I hopefully have answers.
You will.
Okay.
I'm sure you will.
Okay. Allegedly.
Yeah, and then there's some good news.
Some feel-good news.
in the Ted Lasso world.
Yep.
That everyone's going to be happy about.
Correct.
And we're going to have a really special guest in the studio later.
So excited.
Should we say who it is?
No. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay,
Yeah.
we are having Olympic gymnast Shawn Johnson in studio.
The Shawn Johnson.
Exactly. But before we get into that, can I just tell you really quickly what I did yesterday with my dad?
You have been itching. I want you to.
I just think our
scream it
listeners
from
would
the
like
rooftops.
it. Yeah. So in case you guys don't remember, I have a dad, and he is 70 years old. Mm-hmm. And he texted me. We made this plan to hang out yesterday because his 37th sobriety anniversary happened this month.
Amazing.
And so he's having a little party tomorrow. But
Yes, he should.
Yeah, I was like, I can't make it because it's in the middle of nowhere, Jersey, and da-da-da. So I was like, let's hang out Sunday. We're coming up with ideas on what to do. And he says, Lizzo's coming to town.
This was an organic idea from him.
Yes.
That's
came
incredible.
from his own brain.
My dad does not know who Lizzo is.
Wow. Okay. Well, my dad has always prided himself on having eclectic music taste, is
Love
what
that
he
for
says.
him.
So he says Lizzo is coming to town. I was like, okay. He's like, maybe we can get tickets to see her. And I was like, I'm not dying to see her. And he said, well, I am. He literally said, well, I am.
He said, this isn't about you. Sit down.
And I said, fine.
Okay.
If you want to see Lizzo, fine. Mm-hmm. We paid a lot of money to see her. I'm not going to disclose how much. Because honestly, given the...
That's between you and God.
Yes. Given the venue it was at, I was pretty surprised at how high the prices were.
Okay.
And then she didn't say what time she was going to go on. So we waited for the doors to open from 7 to 8 outside with my dad, 70 years old. He stood the entire time.
He's a stan.
He is a stan. A secret stan. I had no idea.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and then you know the dad thing that they do? They like chat up everybody in the line.
Oh,
like he was
yeah.
cracking jokes. This girl behind us was like, do you know the situation with the doors? And he's like, yeah, they're dead. Like, come on, dad joke to the max.
That was good.
Anyway, we made it in. It was a really fun time. And
Yeah.
I have some videos. I'll share them on my social media. But he was like dancing. And
I love that.
yeah, it was honestly really sweet. I was kind of pissed when we were waiting in line. And I was like, man, like, why didn't Lizzo say what time she's going on?
Yeah, that's a little tough.
Yeah, but then we got in and it was a good time.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you had such a fun time. I don't think me and my father will be following in your guys' footsteps because my dad doesn't know who Lizzo is. And he usually, whenever I turn on a song and I'm like, do you like this? He's like, turn that trash off. And I'm like, got it. So it's okay. We'll have our
I can
moment.
change him.
Okay. That's
I
what
can
they
fix him.
Okay. And we're going to move on. All right. Make sure you're checking out our full-length video of this and every episode on YouTube. Just search for Well Played by The Skim on YouTube. Or if you prefer to listen, make sure you're hitting that follow button on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yes, please. Before we dive into the topic, so where can people find you, send you DMs?
At CG Hendy. The DMs are open for nice DMs only.
My
And
DMs.
you?
My DMs are open for any kinds.
Whoa.
Raunchy,
Oh, my God.
flirty,
Oh, my God.
friendly.
Oh, my God.
At BLAAA4KSE. Let's go.
Let's go.
Time for play in the field.
But
I don't know where to start with this NFL topic because we have
Yeah.
drama with the Wags.
Yep.
We've got drama with players beefing.
Yeah, once again, drama ma. Like,
Yeah.
the list goes on and on. Let's start with the players because
the boys.
this one escalated quite quickly. So, obviously, last week we were talking about free agency. You know, all the boys are moving different teams, yada, yada. Okay, former Cowboys defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, he got a little spicy with Micah Parsons, his former teammate, after leaving the team for, some may say, greener pastures.
Debatable. Okay, so it all started when Lawrence gave an interview and said, a change in scenery is always good, but Dallas is my home. I made my home there. My family lives there. I'm forever going to be there, but I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So yeah, we here.
There it is.
Wait, we should also explain that. So I don't know if we said this, but oh yeah. So he was on the Cowboys. Now he's on the Seahawks.
Correct. Yes. So he was on the Cowboys. teammates with Micah Parsons while he was on the Cowboys. Now he's moving on to the Seattle
Said
Seahawks.
they would never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Did he stutter? No. Parsons took exception to the quote, even though it's true. He tweeted out, "This is what rejection and envy looks like. That's some clown shit." To which Lawrence responded, "Calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left." Yikes. Also, like, for perspective, they both are on the defensive side of the ball. So, like, they were in a lot of meetings together, one could surmise.
Right.
So, like, it's not like these two had, like, you know, there's some teammates that you just don't get along with, that like you don't work with as closely.
Right.
They were close.
They were sitting next to each
I'm
other
not saying
in
they were
class.
BFFs, but like they were involved in a lot of the same things together.
Of course. And also they're from, like Lawrence was on the Cowboys for over a decade, right?
Over a decade.
No Super Bowls. Like, he was also part of the problem. So like I kind of was shocked that he said that.
Yeah.
And also Micah Parsons has a podcast.
He is a podcaster boy.
Right. So not only was Lawrence calling him out for tweeting too much, but I feel like there's a little subtweet there
For sure.
about the podcast as well. And I think I don't know if you guys remember from a couple weeks ago when Lexi Brown was on, and she kind of changed my mind in the moment about Paul George?
Yeah.
Yeah, having a podcast, and she was like, it's an outlet for him. Like, that's good. And I was like, you know what, Lexi, you're right. But in this case, I don't know. I think I might retract
back.
I'm retracting my affirmation of what Lexi Brown said, because I'm just like, I thought about it more. I'm just like, he could just call his friends.
Let me just like explain this. I think I understand where Micah Parsons was mad, because it's like, that's breaking like bro code of like being an athlete. Like, you don't do that to a former teammate, right? Like, it's probably an unspoken thing. I probably wouldn't do that to a former teammate, being like, sucks to suck. That's why I left, But it's like, let us all just remember the fall where we talked about Curtain Gate at AT&T Stadium, which is Jerry World. And Jerry Jones does not like to help his team win because he wouldn't put freaking curtains on his stadium. So like, it's not, he wasn't attacking Micah Parsons.
Right.
Micah Parsons is a passionate man. He feels that way because he wants, he has a sense of pride of representing Dallas.
Right.
I get that. But
Problems
he
are
did
started
not lie
Right.
about the 0 Super Bowls.
But also, do we really think that Lawrence is going to get a Super Bowl win with the Seahawks either?
I don't know.
Like, that was kind of a bold statement, I thought. And I'm not
I
even
don't know.
that
Sam
tapped in.
Darnold.
Justice for gingers.
You justice for gingers. There you go. Could be a new era in Seattle. Alrighty, let's move on to the more entertaining
That
drama.
was so broadcast of you. I loved it.
Yeah,
Okay, so moving on to our next play in the field story. Things are not going well in the Bay. And not just because half of the 49ers roster is just gone. They said bye-bye in free agency.
Yeah, literally everyone. They said bye.
Yeah, there's drama with the Wags.
Yeah.
The girls are getting into it.
This was piping hot tea. Okay, this past week, Kyle Juszczyk, he's a longtime 49ers. He was released from the team, okay? Following the release, Sydney Warner, wife of star linebacker Fred Warner, posted some very cryptic Instagram stories. Her first one was like a cup of coffee. It said the happiest of Mondays, which, sure, fine. You like Mondays? That's for you, but not for me. But anyways, totally like no one thought anything of it. And then like the news like becomes official. It breaks on Twitter, and quite literally within like not like maybe minutes, but very close after, she's pouring a celebratory Diet Coke saying, and the day just keeps getting better, celebratory Diet Coke.
First of all, why Diet Cokes don't need to be celebratory, if you ask me.
Yeah, they can be just for fuel.
Just for fun.
Yeah.
For shits and gigs.
Yep.
What we're missing here is that, so Sydney Warner doesn't seem, I don't think she's in the crowd of the Wags that are the 49ers. Like the ones that I think of when I think of like the 49ers Wags.
Yes.
Kristen Juszczyk, obviously.
Correct.
Claire Kittle.
Correct.
I think those are the two. Oh, Olivia Culpo.
Correct. all the time.
Trifecta.
The three of them are always shown together. And there's not Instagram follow-backs.
Right.
I don't think they follow each other on Instagram, which was big drama. And I remember having this conversation with my friend who is obsessed with Sydney Warner. And she was like, I really like her. Her kid's so cute. Her and Fred Warner are so cute, blah, blah, blah. Like loving everything about her, and was a big fan of her. And she was like, but it's so weird. I never see her with Olivia Culpo or Christian Juszczyk or Claire Kittle.
Yeah.
So there's something there.
I mean, yeah, everyone on social media is speculating that Sydney Warner, she was like directing those messages at those three in particular.
Correct. But now it's a good time to mention Kyle Juszczyk was eventually re-signed to the 49ers on like a surprise 2-year contract.
I didn't even know they could do that either.
Well, like, yeah, once you like release them, you can do whatever you want. So he took a visit, I think, to go look at the Steelers and kind of suss out the vibes there, test free agency. And then the 49ers were like, come back, please. And so he was like, okay, now you want me? Sure. But like, yeah, you can get released from a team and then get re-signed by them at a later point if you don't get swooped up by another one.
Yeah, I mean, if fan theories are true and Sydney Warner really is like throwing shade at the Wags, this is just so... Like, I like visibly just cringed as you were reading the news about him coming back to the 49ers. Like, I was like hiding my face because that's just so awkward.
Yeah, but I've been there. Not in like wag drama, but like
wait, you're not a wag?
I know, crazy. No, you brought this up earlier of how it's kind of like when your boyfriend, or not your boyfriend, when your friend and her boyfriend break up and you're like, oh, thank God he was dead weight. He sucked. And then they get back together. I've been there before. I've been like, oh my God, he was terrible. Thank God you're over him. He was a loser. And then literally months later, she's like, oh, we got back together. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. I'm like,
and then she's like never going to tell you shit about their relationship anymore because she knows how you really feel.
But you know what? She knew all along, you know? Like everyone in that circle knows that like the tensions are high and the vibes are not there.
I know. I guess we're just going to have to monitor the socials.
I want to be a fly on the wall.
I'm going to have to be like watching these Instagram stories like a little hawk.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
See if she drops any more
breadcrumbs. Put the
noties
on. Yes. Post notifications.
The noties. That's a new one.
Keep them young. Shall we get into some March Madness?
Please.
Okay, Selection Sunday is in the rearview mirror, so we're going to continue playing the field with some March Madness roundup of teams and names you should be thinking about before you fill out your bracket. I will say the time that I did the best in my bracket situation was when I just went off vibes. So if there's anything for that...
So I could still fill out a bracket today.
You could, my friend who won our bracket like group in college picked it based on what team color she liked more. Mm-hmm. And she won. So,
but you don't have to get it. Okay.
Ask me your question.
In case you can't tell, guys, I have no idea what's going on. And so I'm just going to ask questions that I think are on a lot of your minds.
Yes.
But you might be too scared to ask.
Don't be.
Okay, well, first, let's start with the brackets. This is probably one of the dumbest questions I've asked on this podcast. But like, yeah, so... We learned about the teams yesterday. Mm-hmm. Selection Sunday. Mm-hmm. I can still make a bracket. Like, isn't the point to make a bracket and then like it keeps getting smaller and smaller? Like, don't you have to get in at the top?
Okay, you're right. You're right. But like, so you learned of who's playing who. That like selection, who's selected into the bracket.
Yes.
The tournament. Yes. The tournament hasn't started yet.
So I can make my bracket.
So you can make your bracket, and then they will play. Like who their opponents, and then that's when it gets smaller. Okay.
So I have until the tournament starts to make it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it.
When does the tournament start? Thursday. Tournament starts Thursday, so you have until Thursday. Okay?
Excellent, because I
plenty of time.
Honestly, not to toot my own horn, but a lot of people were asking me to join their bracket March Madness.
Popular.
And I was like, shit, I missed it because I thought I was supposed to select by yesterday.
You got time.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
You got time.
There's one at work too. Maybe I'll join that one.
Yeah.
You know, get in on the water cooler chat. Okay, so I've been hearing about Cinderella.
Yes.
Used to be my favorite Disney princess.
Yeah. No.
Now I think she had a victim complex. No, I'm kidding. That's another story for another time. So Cinderella, I've been hearing a lot about her.
Yes.
But I imagine has nothing to do with Cinderella, her glass slipper, or Chad Michael Murray coming to like congratulate the teams at the end of the tournament.
Waiting for you is like waiting for rain in a desert. Disappointing and something else. Shit, I was so close.
You were close.
Great movie. Okay, yes. So Cinderella story. There's a Cinderella story every year, right? It's like the classic rags to riches. It's when a team that is seeded like they're not supposed to make it far in the tournament. Mm-hmm. They're seeded like freaking 15th, right? Mm-hmm. And they keep making it, and they advance farther than they were ever supposed to. They win a lot of upsets. They upset some top dogs, and that's like a Cinderella story. I think like my favorite one was Loyola Chicago, where they had, what's her name? The old lady. She was very sweet.
She's old?
She is old.
Okay.
She's up there. Shawn, what's her name? Sister Jean. Oh my God. Sister Jean. Yeah. Was she Loyola Chicago? Yeah. Okay. So she was like associated with Loyola Chicago when they went on their Cinderella run. And it was, she was electric. Really liked her vibes.
That's funny. I had the same exact word in my head, electric.
Oh my God. It's because we were sharing a brain today. Crazy how that works.
105.
She's 105.
Guys, she's still kicking it.
Sister Jean, if you're watching
listening.
this, I can't wait to see you this
Biggest
March
stan.
Madness.
Biggest fan. Okay, so it's just like a team does really well.
Yes. Underdog story. Exactly.
Easy. Okay. So now I want to ask about the rounds because I feel like there's a lot of cutesy names. It's kind of reminding me of like, I had to write a poetry book when I was in like 3rd grade and it's like acrostic poem, stuff like that.
Totally.
Like, so we got Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final 4. They also sound like milestone birthdays.
Totally.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
What are these all?
They all like derived from like high school basketball tournaments like way back when. I'm talking like 1956. Sorry for you 1956ers. But like, yeah, so they all kind of derived from that. I spent time looking into it. It's fine. It's not a great backstory. But yeah, it's just like the marker of like, okay.
How many teams are like in the tournament?
Now we're down to like the Elite 8 are left. So these 8 teams have a shot at winning it. So it's just like kind of, a benchmark as you go along.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Easy.
Yep.
Okay, so who is this guy, Cooper Flagg?
Mr. Flagg.
And why are people saying he might miss the start of the tournament? I
Okay,
haven't seen
so
that.
he is the star of the men's side this year, I would say. He's on Duke. He's likely to go number 1 overall in the draft. He's very, very talented. He's very, very tall as well. And he's like slotted, I think he's the favorite to win National Player of the Year. He rolled his ankle.
Ow.
Yeah, big time. They're also like, I think there's got to be something with like the taller you are.
I agree.
Yeah, it's
no science behind it, but I think the taller you are, the more likely you are to.
The bendier your ankles are. Yeah, it's got to be. Anyways,
Science.
so he rolled his ankle. People are saying that he's going to miss some of the first games, but their coach spoke after Selection Sunday and said that he should start progressing this week. The goal is to have him back on Friday. That's obviously Flagg's goal, so we'll just see how the ankle is. But he is a big superstar, so he is someone to watch out for.
Okay. And for those who missed our last show, can we talk a little bit about Juju Watkins? Like, what do we know about her?
I mean, she's a queen. She's essentially, she is doing what Caitlin Clark did, but better and faster, some may say. So she is part of the USC Trojans, and they are the only team that has beaten the number 1 overall seed UCLA this season.
Right.
So again, USC Trojans, circle them on your women's side bracket as well.
Cool. Okay, so I see that USC and UCLA are both listed as number 1 seeds, along with Texas and defending champion South Carolina. How can there be 4
confusing? I know.
number 1 seeds?
It's giving participation trophy, right? Yeah, no, not fun. Okay, so think of this. You have your bracket, 4 different regions, okay?
Right.
So each region, there's going to be team number 1, and there's going to be a team that's seeded 15th. So you have the East region, you have the South region, you have the West region, you have the Midwest region. Then they all come together, and then you all play whatever.
see.
Okay, so you have 1 through 15 in your East region, you have 1 through 15 in your West, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So then those teams end up playing each other. So typically, you would expect like a 1 seed and a 1 seed to play each other because you're ranked the best. So the 1 seed on that bracket and the 1 seed on that bracket. But because of upsets and because of Cinderella stories, that isn't always the case.
Right, okay. Any other big names on the women's side this year in the tournament?
Paige Beckers.
Right.
UConn.
We've talked about her.
Obviously. I think UConn, everyone's like, oh, if they don't win this year, Paige Beckers isn't it. And like, that is not correct. Because I think UConn was plagued with injury, specifically during her time there. But now they're all healthy. They're kind of rolling right when it's meant to be. So that's going to be a very competitive team. And I will say, they picked up a 2 seed on the same region as Juju Watkins. So there could be a major showdown in the Elite 8.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Okay, and then just a personal question for
Yeah.
you. Are you more excited for the men's college basketball or women's?
Women's. And I'm not just saying that because like I'm a champion for women. I am literally saying that because I could not name one other man, even on Michigan. Like I was looking at all of their faces as they were playing for the Big Ten title, and I was like, "Oh my God, who are these boys?"
I don't know them.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I could name honestly a lot of
women. Yeah,
in college basketball.
Yeah, but not
which is
men.
awesome.
I know, love that. Okay, but I will also say I liked this. The graph posted by Serena Williams' husband Alexis Ohanian. He was talking about the upswing in popularity for the women's tournament compared to the men's. He added the caption, "The greatest lie the NCAA ever told was the fans for March Madness women's basketball didn't exist. Watch what happens as they start giving women equal promotion, airtime, and those NIL checks keep pouring in." It was like women was down here and then they went, nice. Yeah, and I'll never forget when, I think I was like fresh out of college when this happened, when it went viral for the weight setup that the women's tournament was given at March Madness, and the men had like full like 17 million racks and dumbbells and all that, and the women's was like bands in a corner, and it was outrageous.
Oh my God.
People went nuts, as they should, and look where we are now. So
Yay. Cool.
Build it and they will come.
Okay, so this last one, I think everybody's going to love. Did you see that Ted Lasso is coming out with a 4th season of their show? Did you watch?
Yes, I watched the first 2. I got a little sidetracked on season 3. I'm going to be honest. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't finish
any of it.
But now I can go back and rewatch 3 into 4.
Right. Well, it's going to be a good one because rumor has it he shared on Travis and Jason Kelsey's New Heights podcast that he'll be coaching a women's team this time around.
I'm so pumped.
Isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Also, I feel like it fits with Jason Sudeikis because he's a big supporter in real life.
He is our orange hoodie sweatshirt boy. And if you don't understand that, he was literally only ever wearing the orange WNBA like iconic hoodie for so long. You could spot him on the sideline of like any WNBA game in his orange hoodie.
Yay.
He's an icon. So I'm very excited.
Me too.
Yeah. It's time for our Stay Ready segment presented by MassMutual. They know preparation is everything on and off the court. It's why they offer financial advice, tools, and support to help women win.
And this is the part of the show where we shout out the athletes who clearly came prepared this week. Caroline, what do we got for Stay Ready?
I want to talk about the youngest player to ever play in a National Women's Soccer League game. Her name is Mac Whittam, and at only 14 years of age, she checked into the season opener of her new team, Gotham FC, this past Saturday. And after the game, she was asked about it, what it was like to enter the game 3 minutes into the second half stoppage, to which she said, "Standing on the sideline and waiting to get on the pitch was pretty exciting. I wanted to be out there and was ready. Stay ready."
She literally was, the script writes itself.
Yes. She continued, "But what was even better was when Coach Juan came up to me and said, 'Enjoy the game and just be you.' And that was what I did."
So wholesome. Oh my God. Okay, so Whittam set a milestone actually last year when she literally became the youngest player. So even before she took the field, she signed with the NWSL at age 13.
13.
Literally crazy. Mm-hmm. What were you doing at age 14, 13?
Not that, let me tell you. I think I was in high school, probably overthinking every interaction I was having with a boy ever. So that was good.
We know I was on BBM, setting my status about
Blackberry
boys.
baby.
I think this was actually the time in between when I stopped competitive dance. I had a year off, and then I joined like the high school dance team.
Okay.
So I definitely was not competing. I was on Tumblr a lot, not staying ready. But I love this story because it reminds me of what I feel like it used to be like when I would get ready for that competitive dance competition.
Totally.
I mean, you guys have no idea. I got into it a little bit with Shawn in our next segment.
I also feel like, though, that almost because she's young, and like her coach said, she's not thinking about this like, do I belong here? You know, as you get older, I feel like you start to question yourself a little bit more. And that's where the almost imposter syndrome comes in. Because when I was younger, I always thought I was the best person there. Like, no matter what. Not saying that was correct. Like, I used to always think I am the strongest, the fastest, the toughest person. Right. And so it's almost like having that younger mindset of her specifically when she was just like, I was ready. Yeah. And it was just like such a fact in her mind.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. A lot of people on the internet were like, she's too young to be playing. Like, this is a crazy decision. But it's like she decided she was ready. And this is like the direction she wanted her life to go in.
Yeah. Also, sorry that she's so good that she can play at that level.
I know.
It's not her fault. She's an iconic superstar.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. That's it for Stay Ready. Thanks again to our presenting sponsor, MassMutual. Here at The Skim, we're big women sports fans, so it's been incredible to watch women athletes, teams, and leagues finally be taken seriously. Unfortunately, female athletes face unique financial hurdles like unequal pay, shorter career spans, and limited sponsorship opportunities, which impact their long-term financial security. The financial inequities female athletes face reflect the hurdles all women face, like earning less than their male counterparts and pausing careers for caregiving.
Beyond those inequalities, financial planning is still largely designed with male decision makers in mind, often leaving women underprepared for planning, growing, and protecting their wealth effectively. Thankfully, our friends at MassMutual champion women working to improve their financial futures and understand the unique challenges women face. They know that, like our favorite female athletes, gearing up for a competition, achieving financial success also requires prep work.
That's why they offer tools, guidance, and strategies to help women confidently reach their money goals, all in the name of creating better financial outcomes for women everywhere. Visit massmutual.com/stayready to learn more. That's massmutual.com/stayready.
When is your wedding?
July. Which, like,
You're almost there.
Crazy soon.
I know. I'm like really excited, but I'm also
Do you
really
have a
excited.
picture of your dress?
Yeah, you want to see it?
Can I see it?
Yeah, of course.
I'm so far out of this world now.
Oh my God.
so-
Of course. I love showing people. They're like, oh, are you like keeping it secret? I'm like, no, I'll show literally whoever wants to see it. Okay, wait, it's a video though, so.
I remember the dress.
Oh my gosh. I know this dress.
Yeah.
With the little slips down the side.
Uh-huh. Yep, you know it.
I know this dress.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
so funny.
it's a video. I didn't even look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that veil,
Yes.
which like it's gonna be drama, but like hello.
I mean,
It's your wedding day.
day.
Pay lots of money for that.
Yeah, excuse me, my man knows what he's getting himself into. Yeah, so we're good. But yeah, it's fine. I'm in the trenches, but like we're persevering.
Good.
It's just like there's so many things to do.
Okay. Piece of advice.
Yes.
Not that you want it.
Yeah,
Not
no,
that
no,
not
give
you.
it to me,
You
give it to me.
literally didn't even ask.
No, I'm asking.
But your wedding is about you and your husband.
Yeah,
It's not about a single other person.
yeah,
So any piece of advice of like, you should do, no, throw it
Yeah.
out the window.
yeah. I'm so bad at that because I'm a people pleaser. And
Don't do it.
I know it's.
You're
so
not
bad.
trying to make them happy. They're coming to celebrate you.
You're so right. Ugh,
If you want Chipotle, get Chipotle.
Yeah, honestly though,
Literally.
might have that waiting for me as I'm getting ready.
Are we allowed to include that in the episode?
Yeah.
Because I want to, okay, I think we should just honestly start the segment that
Okay,
way.
yeah, let's start.
Because we've been just yapping in here in a good way. We've just been having a good old kiki with
Yes.
our guest today in studio, y'all. We have Shawn
Hello.
Johnson.
Casual Olympic gold medalist.
I know, like
Yeah.
all the accolades, podcaster, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
mom.
Thank you.
I mean,
The list goes on.
it does go on.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in
Thank
the
you.
studio and just
Thank you for having me.
automatically bringing the good vibes in here on a rainy
you.
Monday in New York.
It is very rainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm
we
ready for like the warm weather. It's just everywhere.
Is it warm in Nashville where you live?
We're like bipolar right now.
Okay,
So
I
we're
love
like
that.
77 down to 37. So
I did hear
Literally.
that in Chicago it was like 75 and then it snowed the other day.
That's
so,
us.
I can't do
Yeah.
that. I couldn't
yeah,
do it.
not great vibes.
yeah.
Yeah. So do we want to just like get right into
We can
it?
just get right into it.
dive
Why
in.
not?
Yeah. I mean, so to level set here.
Yes.
When we first met you, I guess 2008 in the Beijing
Yes.
Olympics, I was in 4th grade.
Great.
It was the first Olympics I was like conscious for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were talking about this. We were saying like, oh, Shawn Johnson is our generation Simone Biles. Like
Yes.
she was the
Wow.
go for all of us. And like we grew up being like, oh my God.
Thank
Shawn
you.
Johnson
Yeah.
is so cool. She's like this really cool blonde gymnast. She won gold.
Thank you.
We're obsessed with her. I'm like also obsessed with you because I was like, oh, I can
As the
be
brunettes in the
blonde.
room, yeah.
I can be blonde.
Yeah.
I will be Shawn
Yeah.
Johnson. Also, I was never going to be a gymnast. I was way too tall and way too inflexible. But like, no, we thought of you in that way. And
We
it's
did.
just,
Thank
and
you.
I think it's because of the spotlight that
Yes.
was obviously on you
Yeah.
at the time. And that kind of just goes into our first question of just, I mean, you were only 16 in 2008. Like, what was it like back then? I mean, I can't do the math now for myself.
me either.
Over a decade ago, though. Like,
it makes me old. yeah.
We won't do the math.
yeah, like, what was it like being thrust into that kind of spotlight back then?
So for 17 years ago.
Right. Okay.
Scary. I'm
Moment of
33.
silence.
I think I'm 33. I don't know.
We lose track.
It was nothing I could have prepared for.
Yeah.
I literally thought I was going to finish the Olympics and go back to high school
And you're from Iowa,
in
right?
Iowa. Yeah. I was a junior.
Girl.
I still had another year. I tried that and I was told I could in such a beautiful, very kind, appropriate way. I could not come back to high school.
Oh my
Because
God.
it was too much of a distraction.
It was too much of a distraction. And I was like, are you serious?
That's crazy.
But it was, and I hate to say that about myself because that feels really weird, but it was very chaotic. I had like armed security when I was in China afterwards because I couldn't go anywhere. I had people climbing under bathroom stalls when I was trying to go to the bathroom because they wanted autographs.
At school?
No, this was
in
like
at the
this was,
Olympics.
like, at the Olympics.
Oh my God.
It was unlike anything that I expected. And I truly thought like I would just go back to being a normal high school kid. But
Right.
it was an incredible blessing. So I can't complain. I can't complain.
course.
But it's something you can't really put back in the bottle afterwards.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of adjustment. And I'm very introverted and shy. So having that much like in your face attention was hard.
And it's like almost overnight, right? Like
Overnight.
which I feel like is almost harder because it gives you no warning.
Yeah.
You're expecting to go back to high school.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like, America knows me now by first name and everyone thinks that like we're best friends. Do you think it would have been harder for you like today's age where social media is such a big component?
I didn't have the world's voices in my head until after I'd competed. I could not imagine competing with the world's voices in my head now. Because back then I only had to deal with like myself, my coach, and like the judges. That was about it. And I could contain that. But if you had the world telling you their opinions, that you're not good enough, that you're the best in the world, propping you up and pulling you down, I don't know how athletes these days do it. And they're kind of forced to do it now with like NIL and making a career out of it. I don't know. I would say every athlete needs a personal assistant to do it for them, and they should not be attached to it. But
Well, it's also just hard because I feel like specifically with gymnastics, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are judged on the tiniest little things. I mean, we all have watched Stick It, where the bra strap moment comes
it's the
out.
greatest movie ever.
But like,
it's real.
It's real,
Yes.
right? So like all of that goes into your day to day with your sport. So then the outside noise, like, did you feel like after the Olympics that was? I mean, you obviously won gold, so that was on the better side of things. But like, did you have any criticisms that you were hearing that it was all consuming kind of thing?
A lot. I had a really hard time after the Olympics. So I always explain the difference. Take gymnastics versus track. Track, you cross the finish line. So like there aren't always clear winners, but there's like a clear winner. You can have a photo finish. Gymnastics is subjective judging. So at the root of it, yes, you get deducted based off of wobbles or falls. But there is a margin of subjectivity that is allowed. So if a judge says, I just didn't like it, they can deduct for that.
That's crazy.
So that is a lot of like opinionated based judging, which I got used to. But in my sport, I could kind of put my superhero cape on and feel like I don't care what you think if I could go out and win. So even if I could, take that margin and still win or come in second or third or place, it gave me that confidence to be like, it doesn't matter what you think. When the Olympics were done and the entire world's voices started coming in, commenting on things that I had no control over, where I couldn't put my cape on and go flip on a beam, how I looked, how I dressed, how I talked, what I listened to, how I ate, going through puberty on the public stage. That got to me. I had a really hard time with that.
Yeah, of course. You're only human.
I grew up as a competitive dancer, and I feel like there are some overlaps with like clickiness is one thing, but also just like your appearance has everything to do with how you show up on stage, how you show up on the beam, whatever your event is doing. How did you get through those moments? And especially like you're also in a way, like you are competing as a team, but it is really about you as the individual. I feel like that makes it so much harder.
That was an interesting thing for me to deal with because in my time, which sounds weird, 17 years ago, I was kind of a new style of gymnast, especially for the United States. Mary Lou was very similar, or Kim Zmeskal, where I was a power athlete. I was stockier built, stronger built, more muscular built than like your Nastia Lukin. We were very two different styles of bodies competing in the same sport. So I was kind of the first one to pave a way for that a little bit. And And I only did so because Mary Lou paved the way for me and Kim's Mescal paved the way for me to do that. But it was definitely harder. But I could still prove people wrong by doing well.
Right.
Take that. I say that because in my sport, I always kind of had pushback. From the subjectivity of judges, I didn't look the part. And when they're already judging on how we look and how we appear, I could fight it off by winning.
Right.
When people started commenting on my body and how I looked outside of sport, I crumbled. I went through, and I was 16. I was 16 when I retired the first time. I went through puberty after I retired, and I did it during Dancing with the Stars on a public stage. So everybody had to criticize. I struggled, and in full transparency, I've been open with this. I went through eating disorders. I tried every fad diet under the sun. I did everything I possibly could to regain that control until I lost the battle and said, you know what, nothing works, and got like professional help. I got a dietitian, and I went on to study nutrition and like kind of build myself from the ground up. But it was hard. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah. How do you think about that as a mom now? And you have I mean, you were literally just before we got on here, like, I'm telling my husband how to put a ballet bun up because they're sticklers about that bun and the flyaways. Like, how do you think about it now as a mom, especially to a daughter, but to 3 young kids? And
it's even things like the ballet bun, though. I hyper obsess over it. And my husband will even point it out. He's like, I don't know if you're obsessing in an appropriate manner or in like a trauma-based historical manner. And I was like, I don't either. I don't know. But like the ballet bun in my head, I'm like, okay, I don't want her ballet bun to not be as good as the others and her start to look at the others and say mine should look like that. And what if she gets called out by a coach?
Right.
And like that's something we can control and we can help with. So that's why I'm like, you have to do it right. But I obsess over it internally. Like I try very, very, very hard every single day to make sure I'm not saying anything, doing anything, acting in a certain way that is negative to my body. And I do that so that she can watch me and hopefully follow. I teach her nutrition, and not in an obsessive way, not in like a that has this much fat or this whatever.
Right.
But in like a let's go get ice cream because it's so yummy and it's so fun and it's good to have and it makes you feel good. But let's eat some broccoli because if you want to do your flips at gymnastics practice, this will actually help that. Like she understands the dynamics of food that way and knows that nothing is off limits. But like it's just trying to give her a better awareness.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so relatable. I feel like every woman has looked in the mirror and at some point been like, oh, I hate this, I hate that. And when I was a college athlete, I kind of went through a similar thing where we at one point were getting weighed for our sport and I literally don't step on a scale to this day. But like it messes with your mind a little bit in the sense of like, okay, what I can do when I have my uniform on is like I am invincible. Like you were saying, your superhero cape. And so I remember one thing I used to say to my friend was when they would start to pick themselves apart in the mirror, I'd be like, don't be mean to my friend. Don't talk to my friend like that. And it legitimately works because like if you are thinking of the relationship your daughter has with her sports, like what do you want that to look like for her?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. But it's the same way. Like I want her to find her invincibility and I want her to find her passion in something and I want her to find her outlet for insecurities. At the end of the day, I've kind of come to the conclusion that like we're all human. We're all going to struggle with it. I cannot protect her from that. I can't protect her from having an insecurity in some way, shape, or form about something. But what I can help her find are her strengths and teach her that like we have already taught about or learned about it a little bit. We talk about we all have hidden treasures and it's just our job to find them. We had to have this conversation because when mommy gets asked for pictures, she's not sure, she's not understanding why.
Okay.
And why not her. And so we had this long rabbit hole conversation about mommy found a treasure and I got to share it with the world and the world like has seen it. So that's why they ask for a picture sometimes. And so now we have to go find her treasure and like all this stuff.
That is so cute. We're both just sitting here with our mouths open.
As a mom though, you get to times where I'm like, what am I saying?
You're like, this is working okay.
So we keep going. But I just hope that I can help teach her enough that when she is faced with that she either has a group of friends around her to say, stop talking to your like my friend like that.
Yep.
Or that she has the ability to say, you know what, this isn't the right thing. I either need to go get help or I need to stop doing it, or like whatever.
Right.
But just being aware of it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's hard.
Earlier in our show, actually, we were just talking about, so in the National Women's Soccer League, the youngest, you saw the story? Yeah, Mac Whittam. So for the context here, people, just in case y'all forgot already, even though we just talked about it. So the NWSL just had its youngest player take the field on Gotham FC. Her name is Mac Whittam. And I also, so crazy, congratulations to her, but also, you know, she's a young athlete. You also just spoke to ESPNW, I believe. They slid into your DMs, which I thought was such a cute way to like solicit advice from really amazing female athletes. And they were asking you like, what advice do you give your younger self? And you kind of talked about the idea of success and like how it's changed for you over time. And so I'm curious for you, like, you know, knowing that this really young athlete is just starting to take, you know, her career on at literally 14 years old, crazy.
Wild.
I know, even younger than you. It's wild. So like, what advice would you give her, any like young athlete, about what short-term success looks like and what long-term success should look like?
Blake with the hard-hitting questions.
Sorry.
That's a good question.
You were the inspiration for the question because of what you said to ESPNW.
I would say, like, it sounds cliche, but don't forget why you started soccer. If I'm talking to her, but if I'm talking to any athlete, it's like, just don't ever forget to have fun. I think we live in a world right now where we're pushing success on kids at such a young age. And the world is defining success to kids as like Olympics, NIL making $1 million, getting a college scholarship full ride. Like they're very clear milestones that the world has said, if you do that, you are successful in your sport. Or if you get like a CEO position or whatever it is, there are like these markers that the world has deemed successful. And I will say, you can do everything in your power to get there and you can attain it, and you probably still won't be happy if you're not doing what you love.
Yeah.
And even when you get there and you attain it and you're not doing what you love, you're not going to feel successful. So find something you love and hold on to it. And whether it's worth $1 million or zero, success is, if you love what you do at the end of the day, you're doing a lot better than a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah. And like remind yourself why you did it in the first place and why it brought you joy.
And you'll be in it longer. Like being able to like love, if I'm talking to her, if she loves soccer and she can continue loving soccer, people will back that. And that will bring success of some kind, even outside of fulfillment. Like it's just...
Ooh, that was like real. That really hit me.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Like you really can't have everything and still not everything, quote unquote, you know, those things that we deem a success, but and still not be happy. It's so powerful.
Okay, I have a question about. I'm gonna get into this with you when we finish recording, but like so. At the Paris Olympics, you donated $250,000 to Moment Makers Foundation, which helps families cover the cost of traveling to the Olympics, attending the Olympics, daycare, all of that. First of all, I'm going to say this as a side note. It's so bizarre. My sister was in the 2012 Olympics. You were there at the 2012 Olympics, like not competing, but just like attending. There's a picture on my phone, I'll show you after, that I'm such a freaking weirdo for, but like, okay. My sister talking to some guy, and then you were also in the conversation, and I, like a creep of a younger sister, took a photo
you were
of
like
the
13.
two of you guys talking.
That's amazing.
And so then
Give
I
yourself grace.
was like, oh, Shawn Johnson's coming on the pod? I think I have a really creepy soccer picture.
That's amazing.
So I'll show it to you after.
Yes.
But what do you think is like the biggest misconception for people with Olympians' finances? Because I feel like people think, oh, you've made it to the biggest stage. You must be so rich.
You're rolling in it, yeah.
And we talked about it a little bit ago, but the new donation for Olympians that is now covering them for like $100K for 20 years after they compete, and then $100K later in life. So what do you think is the biggest misconception there?
That you make any money at all.
Say more.
I think, NIL, you see all these dollar signs of the athlete, they're making a lot more than Olympians. Let me tell you that. I would say the biggest misconception, and I will keep this more specific to like the United States Olympic athletes, because in every country it's different. The United States athletes, when it comes to Olympians, majority of those Olympians have found a passion in a sport that is a hobby or a second job. They're doing it outside of their full-time job, outside of their career, outside of school, college, whatever it is. And they're doing it for fun, and they do it because they love it and they want to be the best. They don't get compensated for that. And usually every Olympic cycle, all of these companies, the, Fortune 500 companies that kind of do endorsements, you're looking at maybe 10 athletes across the board who have gotten these big endorsements out of, I think we send on average 600 Olympians over to the Olympics every 4 years or every 2 years. I would say the average Olympian's maybe making $1,000 a month, and that's to cover their training costs.
Like insane.
It's wild.
Yeah. Insane.
That's not a statistic, by the way. So
Right,
don't quote me on that.
No, but like, I guess like now you said you're 33. Did you, like, why did you decide now to cover the cost or help cover the cost for these families? Did you like see yourself in them as like a mom, or like what was it about it this year?
Both. So my parents, during the 2008 Olympics, had no money to go over to China. I mean, it was ungodly expensive to get there and to stay and to find housing and find tickets. They didn't have tickets.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
And by the grace of God, they had some companies reach out and actually finance their way to get to Beijing to watch me. Now being a mother, I have heard my mom say this a few times, whether it was in interviews or just like she always like puts on a stronger front. But thinking back to the actual words that she was saying of like, she wasn't sure if she could go watch her daughter compete at the Olympics.
I just got chills. Like, that's insane.
I had this realization for the Paris Olympics, and I was like, are you kidding me? If there is any parent out there who's getting ready to compete, or a child who doesn't know if their parents are going to be able to make it over there and they're worried about this is like the last thing they should be worrying about. So for us, it was a no-brainer. I was like, absolutely, we will figure out a way to cover any of these costs for anybody.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so we had started this, and I desperately wanted there to be like 500 people to be like just cover this because we wanted it. So we were so passionate about it. I was just like, I want them to feel covered, but it's not what they should be worrying about.
Yeah.
Their loved ones should be right there.
Yeah. And just thinking about your mom, I'm just like, I can't even imagine. I feel like parenting was so different back then. Like, I could see my mom being like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Beijing, honey.
Yes.
But it just was like that back then. I don't know.
No, but also, like, you always want your mom. Like, I remember, like, getting ready for NCAAs and being like, I really just, like, want a hug from my mom.
Yes.
Like, I'm just nervous and I just want a hug from my mom.
And imagine, for you, too, like, traveling across the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you had left the country at that point. You know what I mean? Like, so stressful.
Well, imagine some of these incredible men and women, too, who are moms and dads.
Yeah.
Who are going to Paris, say, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they're like, oh, I have to figure out childcare. How do I pay for child? How do I
I don't
pay
speak French. Like,
I mean, that takes so much money.
Yeah.
In considering what they're making and stuff at the time, because a lot of times all these Olympians will make their money after they compete.
Right.
Because if they do well, then comes the endorsements and the opportunities. I was just like, this is just not something someone
the
should be worrying
mental
about.
gymnastics you have to play, and you can't even focus on your sport. It's just wild.
Yeah, the mental load. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we covered this briefly a little bit already, but nutrition and taking care of yourself, they're like obviously very critical for great athletes, but also for you. How do you plan to pass that idea on to your kids?
Okay, so I created something. It's called Beam Kids, and it was a passion project. I selfishly, one of my husband's best friends has a supplement company that is phenomenal. And I asked him one day, I was like, can you help me make something for my kids? So I selfishly made this supplement for my children.
It's amazing.
I did not make it for the world. And it is a prebiotic, a probiotic, a multivitamin, and a greens like blend. So like think your broccolis and spinach and kale, just like a blend, all in one. And it tastes like chocolate milk.
Oh
So-
my God.
my
Can I have it?
It's actually really good.
Amazing.
I took my kids to the lab. They actually formulated the flavoring and like made sure it's tasted and approved by them, not by me.
Amazing.
But I did it because I wanted to teach them that like we can have our ice creams, we can have all of this. They watch my husband and I wake up every single day and we do our protein shakes and we do our like greens powders and we like they know this is part of our routine. And I was like, why can't they have something?
Right.
And so I would go try to find supplements for them, but you have to like mix 5 different gummies together to get like, you're basically teaching them to eat candy.
Yeah.
And I was like, why can't they have their little protein shakes in the morning too? So it's called Beam Kids. It is probiotic, prebiotic, multivitamin, greens powder, all in one. It's sweetened with monk fruit. It is as clean as it gets. Again, since I made it for my kids, I was like super anal about it. Yeah. It is wonderfully made and it's sweet. It's cocoa powder. It tastes great. We'll come out with more flavors and stuff too. But
chocolate's a good place to start.
Obviously. But I also wish that like I had this probably. My mom probably wishes that I had this because oh my God, was I a picky eater?
Yeah.
So like this would have saved her a headache.
Well, and so I do want to reiterate, and that's just me having like the nutrition background. I don't want to teach my children that like they can go drink this chocolate milk and not eat broccoli.
Right.
Like we're still teaching education, but it's like if you have a picky eater at the end of the day and they've chosen not to eat broccoli and they've only had potato chips, you can kind of give them a chocolate milk, which is also an indulgent treat and they love it, but they're filling nutritional gaps throughout the day. Right. And you can just have like a little peace of mind as a parent.
Exactly. It lets you like check a little bit of a box and be like, I can breathe and pat myself on the back a little bit today, which we all need. We're going to finish it off with some fun questions.
Love it.
So whatever comes to mind first, okay? Doesn't have to be rushed. Your answer's going to be long.
Great.
Okay. What has your husband, Andrew East, taught you about football? Because he was in the NFL for a little bit. So what has he taught you about football and what have you taught him about gymnastics?
I can follow a game pretty well now.
Okay.
But I still don't know if it's punt fake or pump fake.
Girl, me neither. I have no idea.
Is it punt?
Well,
or is it pump?
Well, there's a pump fake when they're throwing the ball, but then there could be a play where it's a fake punt and then it like is a little.
That's confusing.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I did learn?
Yeah.
I learned everything about long snapping.
I was going to say that. Okay.
I know the ins and outs of the long snapping
There you
world.
go. Niche.
Sometimes
niche
it's better
category.
to be like a master of one thing than a jack of all trades.
Anything else? No.
Any other information? Don't have it for you.
Gymnastics, he does really well.
Yeah.
He can watch like a routine now and be like, that was good, that was not good. He knows it.
Yeah.
Cool.
He knows where the deductions come into play and all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's learned the aesthetic side of it where like we can all watch and be like, I think she made a mistake or that looks effortless or that looks like muscled or like whatever. He can do pretty good.
Props to him. Okay. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Given your husband has been on a couple teams, which NFL team do you guys root for?
Oh, this is hard. I think we would both. So Andrew would root for the Colts.
Yep.
Because he's from Indianapolis.
Okay.
Our favorite team we were on was the Raiders.
Oh.
It was my favorite team as like a wife and like community there. It was his favorite team as a player.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so much fun. But we loved all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Raiders hold a soft spot in your heart.
Raiders do.
You and my dad also. He's really on the come up. He's like, this is going to be their year. So don't get him started. Okay. What is your favorite team or sports franchise to root for across the board?
Right now, we're really on a PVF kick.
Okay.
So like pro volleyball, women's pro volleyball.
Yeah.
We are all in on the PVF.
I love that.
We helped invest in Indie Ignite. We have been going to a bunch of games.
That's so fun.
These women are incredible.
Insane.
And to see how many opportunities have been coming up for them has been really cool. So I would say PVF.
Cool.
But so many. We like sports.
I know. That's like it's
I
like
just
what's
like
on,
sports.
you know? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Two great athletes.
Yeah.
Of course, their TV is probably going to be more tapped into sports.
It's all sports.
I mean, it makes sense.
Always.
All right. Are NFL Sundays a big thing in your house or not quite? Because all the sports are playing.
Yes. Yes and no. We always have like the grid system up.
Like Red Zone?
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
My husband took a little hiatus from watching like the football Sundays and stuff. Sunday football, Sunday night football, Monday night football, whatever.
All the football. It's like every day of the week now. It's fine.
It literally is Friday night football too. He took a little bit of a break when he retired. I think he needed to step away from it, so we didn't watch a lot. We are all in now. We are all back in on the football game.
I love it.
So we watch every game. We get all the all the things.
Is there like a gripe you have when watching football? Like, for example, when I watch with my sister, she does not know all of the ins and outs, which like totally fine. She hates when they give the ball to the running back and he runs up the middle and gets stopped quickly. She's like, why do you run it up the middle? It never works. That's so dumb. She gets like on a tirade. Is there anything that like really bugs you about the NFL when you're watching it? That you're like, I could have done that.
Not when I'm watching it, no.
Okay.
I love watching it. I can't tell you like what the play is. I can't tell you like the score or whatever, but like I understand watching it.
Yeah.
And I understand when like a really good play has happened or like a bad choice play, we've all seen those. But I think the only gripe I have is like with the business side of NFL. I'm like, why would you cut him? He's so great.
I know. And you're like, no, he has to now move his family
so
across the
handsome.
literally.
Come
I'm like,
on.
these poor kids.
It's literally me.
It's me. Okay, you have a viral video of you reacting to your daughter doing a cartwheel on the balance beam.
Yeah.
I am obsessed with it. So like you have kind of talked about how you as a mom have explained to her like why people come to ask you for photos with the treasure. What is that like being on the other side of gymnastics now and like giving her that kind of reinforcement?
I try to keep a very clear boundary line. And that's one that like I know and I see. It's not one that we've talked about before. But I will forever be her biggest cheerleader and nothing else. I don't offer to coach her. I don't offer to teach her. She still doesn't understand and doesn't know like I could teach you how to flip. She doesn't ask me to teach her things. It's still like coach knows or daddy knows more than mommy when it comes to gymnastics. So I always want to be her biggest cheerleader and make her feel like she's capable of anything. I mean, truly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I love that answer. Yeah. Okay. What is your biggest sports pet peeve if you have any? Like in gymnastics, for example, is there such thing as too much chalk? Something like that.
Yeah, she's got one.
Something came to mind though.
I have one, but it's not along those lines.
Okay, it's fine. No, say what came to mind first.
Yeah.
I was just going to say like, we're going down a rabbit hole now, but like the toxic culture of like all these coaches and parents thinking that like they can, how do I word this?
Like the sideline.
Yes.
Yeah, like parents that think they're the coach.
That and like they can know at 5 years old their kid's going to be an Olympian.
Oh my God.
And all these coaches who are like, oh, I can scout you. I know you're going to go to the NFL. I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah. Also, like, don't you feel like that's like like how you're almost like tricking an old person with like online scams? Like it's kind of like a scam.
Yeah.
The amount of, and I only say this because like I feel like there's a toxic culture right now where people are truly like, your kid should be specializing in one sport by the age of 8.
100%.
They should be on a travel league. They should be doing 30 hours a week. The amount of people who I have had, even friends, text me and be like, my daughter's going to the Olympics.
Oh my God.
What do I need to do? And I'm like, first of all, you'll never know that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you won't know that maybe even the day before the Olympics happen and she's already on the team. Like, it just doesn't work that way. So I would say my biggest pet peeve is people forgetting that sports are for fun.
Totally. That's a great one. Okay, last one we're going to end on. Who is your starting 5? So like your dream team of any sport, any era, you and then like 4 other people get to be. Actually, no, you're just managing the 5. So it could be all gymnasts. Could be a basketball player thrown in there.
No idea what you just asked because I don't know like names.
Okay, what about
like that girl from here?
What if you could put together a celebrity starting 5?
Oh,
there you go.
Just like your favorites of all time.
Could be Bachelor characters. Could be Dancing with the Stars contestants. Could be.
I don't know what category we're going here.
I gave you a lot of options.
I would love to see Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson on a team together somehow.
Incredible.
But who are we going to put with them? 3 more.
Yeah.
We're going to put 3 more. Let's throw in.
So it's Kevin Hart, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Exactly. Can I choose an athlete?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, then we got to go Serena Williams.
Oh
Heck
my
yeah.
God.
Perfect.
She's going to hold the team together. I
She'll
have to say.
do it all. It's fine.
For sure.
As long as she's on the team, she'll figure it out. She'll probably
We got to
bully
have Simone.
Yes. Simone.
So we've got both.
Yes. Okay,
Right.
there you
We
go.
got Dwayne and Kevin.
Yes.
We've got Simone and Serena.
Yeah, there you go.
One more.
Caitlin Clark.
Boom.
Oh,
There you go.
okay.
Boom.
I think you're set.
You're
You're set.
You crushed it.
The like dream team right there.
Yeah, please. They'll figure it out.
I
Whatever
love that.
sport it is, they'll figure it out. The athletics are covered.
Okay.
Great. No, that was great.
That wraps it. But wow, that starting 5 really just, it's Just stick with me. It got me so worked up. I punched the mic. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. Can you tell our listeners where they can keep up with you and where they can keep up with Beam Kids and the new flavor launches that are eventually to come?
Yes. Shawn Johnson across all socials. And then beam.com. You can find Beam Kids.
Perfect. So exciting.
Yeah.
Or I think I might go buy some after this, honestly. Like chocolate milk. Sign me up.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being our guest. You can follow us at The Skim across all of our social channels, and I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Until next time, thanks for listening to Well Played.
The only podcast in the league of its own.